Since 2020, Pokemon cards have exploded in value, turning what used to be a wholesome hobby into grown men fighting over the right to price gouge children. Despite all the negative attention Pokemon card collecting has received recently, I wanted to see if there were still genuine people in the hobby. So I went to the Iowa Expo Center for the Capital City Card Convention, the largest card show in Iowa, to ask those attending what got them into the hobby. What I found was pretty surprising. There was plenty of people in it for the reasons you'd expect.
I was a young kid, early 2000s, bought my first pack surprisingly, a gas station, and I pulled a holographic card, and I was like, oh, this is dope. And ever since then, I've been a fan.
My favorite game was Pokemon Emerald, and then my cousin used to rip packs, so we'd play the Game Boy and rip packs together. So, I always had love for the game since I was just a little kid.
I kind of grew up with it, to be honest. Like I've been a collector of sorts since I was about 7 years old, and started with the original cards. So I was in kindergarten when base set came out back in 1999, and I've been into it in some capacity really since then.
Some people were collecting a specific type of card.
I got into Pokemon here back in 2018 after I saw this YouTube song of Magikarp being useless. And then I started collecting Magikarp cards. So now I have every single Magikarp card in English.
My dog passed away in October, and my brother-in-law is really, really into Pokemon. And so I kind of looked up what Pokemon looked most like my dog, and I found Vulpix. And so I've just really been into collecting Vulpix and Ninetales and the Alolan Vulpix.
But when I asked kids at the event the same question, their answers were different.
At one point, I pulled a $100 Dragonite V from Evolving Skies. That's now $350.
I got the Mewtwo, which is the Mewtwo that's in the tube. And then I sold that, and that really got me back running into the hobby.
How did something so simple turn into kids today selling armfuls of unopened boxes to vendors? And to be clear, that's awesome these kids are making money, but to them it's more of a business than a hobby. And how can you blame them when this is what it's like getting a pack now?
Yeah. I've seen someone pull from a 10-year-old, they pulled an ETB out of their hands. It was crazy.
How old is he?
He was probably 28. It was crazy.
Yeah. No, all the time, it was a while ago, but it was I was going and this guy just shoved a little kid out of the way.
Yeah.
8 years, I don't think he meant to, but he's
the scalpers are.
It was a 35-year-old guy. He literally just went boom, went straight to him.
So I had to find out for myself. How hard is it to find a pack of Pokemon cards? Okay, so we're outside a Walmart right now, and I'm gonna go inside and see if I can find any Pokemon cards. Let's go. Okay, so I decided to speed this up so it wouldn't take 15 minutes to show if there are Pokemon cards in these stores, and I'm just gonna voice over it here. So yeah, making my way over to the front of the store. Usually in all these stores, cards are right by the front in their own little section. As you can see here, a lot of sports cards. Unfortunately, there was a family kind of blocking the Pokemon cards, so I had to wait for them to clear out. Don't want to be annoying, but yeah, as you can see, no Pokemon cards. They were completely emptied out. I even asked a Walmart employee. They said, yeah, no Pokemon cards in the store, and they rarely do have any Pokemon cards. So 0 for 1 so far. Now I'm making my way over to Target, and I was hearing good things about Target. A couple of the people at the convention told me that they go to Target and they can usually find some cards there. So I was hopeful, but as you can see here, making my way in the store, they had a much larger card section, but they did not have any Pokemon cards, as you'll see here. They had the little Pokemon poster above, but no Pokemon cards, only sports cards. And then I saw this little sign. So I guess this is their way of combating the scalping, but doesn't seem to be working because that's an 0 for 2 so far. Now I'm making my way into Best Buy, and this trip will be a little different because as soon as I walked in, they asked me, can we help you? And I immediately said, I'm just looking for Pokemon cards, and they directed me to the front of the store. And so they have a front desk section for the Pokemon cards, but it's behind the front desk. So you have to, where you check out normally, you have to just ask them tell them what Pokemon cards you want. But yeah, they did have a lot of Pokemon cards. All right, sorry for the angle over here. Just got out of Best Buy and we got a pack. They were
on lockdown there. They had a bunch of stuff, bunch of packs. They had boxes, and it's because they implement like a strict rule, 4 products per person. You might have heard it on the mic while I was talking to them, but they had a line going outside of Whole Foods, which is next door to it, the Best Buy. But they still had a lot of product.
Think about how bad scalping has gotten that companies like Best Buy, which really only care about profit bottom line, are going through this much just to stop scalpers from coming in and buying out their stock. And unfortunately, these kind of lengths won't be taken at stores like Target and Walmart, who don't have the staff or frankly the desire to stop scalping the way Best Buy has. I think that's a problem, and so do the people involved with the hobby.
The hobby has turned into, for some people, more about money than what it really should be. Obviously, I mean, we do this, but at the same time, I don't go and sculpt shelves. I don't do that because I want people to be able to get stuff.
I feel like they should just print some of the sets into the ground, honestly.
I love it when the new gen kids comes and they pretty much take over the hobby and continue on to love the cards more than they love the money aspect of it. So I'm hoping one day that they print enough cards to where the price goes down a little bit, so it becomes more of a hobby than like an actual stock market style career.
I want to make it clear, I'm not a collector, nor would I say it's a hobby of mine. That pack I opened earlier in the video, that's the first pack I've opened in years. I wanted to make this video because we all have things we're nostalgic about. Almost everyone I talked to said their love for the hobby started through childhood experiences, not to make money. But if the next generation isn't able to have those experiences, what will the hobby become? Scalpers are ruining this hobby for pretty much anybody involved. I would try to appease to their emotions, but being scalpers, I assume they don't have any. So I would say this. You've seen all the fights. They've gone viral on every social media platform, even on the news. Aren't you embarrassed? Do you really want to be associated with these people that fight over a children's toy or trading card collectible? So if you're a scalper out there ready to buy out your local Walmart's next card drop, just take a moment and think, is this really worth it? You may think it's just a shiny piece of cardboard you can make some money off of, but to so many, it's worth so much more than that.
Kids that come into my card shop all the time and they'll say, we went to Target and there was nothing there. And I said, it's not really a shocker. That to me is like the sickest part of it all, because those people that do that, they're not about moving it to the next generation. They're about, can I make the next dollar as fast as possible? For me, it's more about moving it to the next generation and then letting them enjoy what we enjoyed, and seeing all the kids that enjoy it these days warms my heart more than anything, man.
I'm Lucas Warren. Thanks for watching.